OK, now, an airline has introduced adult-only areas where children are banned and shielded from the rest of the aircraft.
How do I get a ticket?
In the hope of creating what they say will be a calm and relaxing atmosphere.
Well, I don't agree with that because most airlines treat you like cattle, as do most airports. But it'll be better than screaming kids kicking the back of your seat and all that sort of thing. So is that the way it should be? Or is that discrimination against people who have families, heaven forbid?
Well, let's debate this with the showbiz journalist Ellie Phillips, who's all in favour. Boot those kids out. Meanwhile, the travel writer and mum of two, Cleo Wood, disagrees, saying children are people too. Ellie, let's start with you because, quite frankly, you've started this debate because you wrote a column about it.
Yeah.
Why do you want rid of these sweet little cherubs?
So I can deal with, on the short haul flights, OK, maybe not so much, but it's long haul flights for me when it's 12, 13 hours and you've got a screaming baby. And I feel bad for the babies, I feel bad for the parents, we feel bad, people are disgruntled. And I'd say I'm probably one of the nicer people in terms of how I treat people who have rowdy children. But I just think if you had the option to travel in an adult-only either zone or plane, then it would benefit everyone.
So have it as an option.
An option. So, for example, if you had 4 flights a day to Spain, one of them's adult only, then therefore the people with children on the child-friendly planes, they know that the people there are fine with kids being on that plane, so surely that would put them more at ease. And then at the same time, the people who've gone adult only know that there's going to be no kids there and they can just enjoy themselves the way they want to.
Yeah, it sounds fine, but in my experience of flying to Amsterdam, because this is an airline that is talking about this on flights into Amsterdam, I've had more problems with adults than I've ever had with children.
Well, kids aren't flying to Amsterdam, are they?
Well, they're introducing it on this flight to Amsterdam. But I'm just saying, you know, it's actually adults who behave badly on those flights.
Yeah.
They drink too much on the way out. They're abusive to air stewardesses. And on the way home, let me tell you, it is grotesque. They are vomiting. They are breaking wind. It is not a nice place to be. Bring back the kids any day, I say.
I mean, the thing is, because, like, you've got the vomiting, the breaking wind, the kids definitely do that as well. But what I mean is they're kind of separate issues in a way, because this is just about you can't turn around to a child and arrest them and throw them off a plane because they're behaving in a rowdy way. You can turn around and say to an adult, look, can you calm it down? It's not acceptable. There are rules and kind of social norms when it comes to that. But it's when the children there were supposed to just grin and bear it, no matter how disruptive they can be.
Well,
and I just think it would benefit everyone if there were 2 options there.
Two options. Cleo, where do you stand on 2 options? You are a travel writer. You are a mum of 2. Sounds reasonable to me, no?
Well, I have to say, without being a bit Ron Burgundy about this, children are people too. I get how annoying kids are. I had 2 hours sleep last night because my 2-year-old decided to come into bed with me. But, you know, without kids, how will our societies and our economies progress? And, you know, this is about a matter of transport. It's not about a hotel or a holiday in general. It's about getting to and from. And if you continue the debate to its natural conclusion, we might end up banning children from public transport altogether, which I don't think is...
That's a good idea.
Entirely practical.
It's a fair point, though, isn't it, Ellie, that this could be a slippery slope into being intolerant towards families and children. And it's all part of really quite a selfish society that we don't want to see or hear these little kids. And as Cleo said, we were all children ourselves once.
Yeah, that's totally true. But if you...
Yeah, but I didn't kick the back of... Well, we didn't have air travel.
Exactly.
I didn't get on a plane until I was 18.
But if you think about it and you talk about the public transport element of it, whether they're commercial airlines or not, if you look at trains, there's a quiet zone in there. So it's a similar kind of idea. You wouldn't take realistically, you wouldn't take a small child into a quiet zone on a train because you know they're likely to not be quiet throughout it. So it's just that kind of aspect. It's people who want to travel.
Ellie, it's like dogs. There's no such thing as a bad dog, just a bad owner. No such thing as a bad child, just bad parents. And you get these parents that walk onto a plane. As soon as I hear them, as soon as I see them, yes, Tarquin, that's where the pilot sits, yes, and we will be flying.
Yeah, I do that.
at a height of 10,000 or up to 20,000 feet. And we're in row 14F. 14F, Mummy. 15F. Just shut up, keep quiet, and point them where you want them.
It's called parenting. It's called engaging
it's called parenting. It's called being overindulgent
as a family.
See,
you can't tell your child there's a pilot.
No, and I totally understand that. And actually, it's interesting because I'm not a mum myself, but I regularly look after my sister's 2 children. She's got a 1-year-old and a 5-year-old with special needs, and he's incredibly disruptive, and they do everything they can to control him and try and calm him down, but it can be absolutely impossible. And I spoke to my sister about this, and when I said to her, would it not benefit you if you were on a plane where people had the option to travel without children? They could have gone on another flight. They've accepted that those kids are going to be there. They're obviously fine with it. She was like, yeah, actually, it would probably put me a lot more ease because I could be like...
A soft plane, that'd be brilliant. They could tap the walls.
Cleo, have you ever had an embarrassing situation that you felt out of your control?
No, I haven't actually. I think I also would like to point out that most of us parents spend a lot of time apologising for our kids. We feel guilty about the way that they behave. We can't always control it. And actually, as Isabel said, we don't see adults apologising for their behaviour as much as parents apologise for their kids' behaviour all the time. So it's just one other aspect of that. And I feel like if I can't even get on a flight without feeling bad that I'm there, and enjoying enjoying the holiday at the end of it, which we've worked hard to, save up for and should be
just
able to
have your own
appreciate.
flight. That's fine. We'll just all us adults will be on another flight.
If you lend me the money for the private jet, Eamon, I would be more than happy.
Yeah, exactly.
What was that point?
Lend her the cash for a private jet. She'd be fine with that.
No, that's not what Ellie's saying. Ellie's saying that, and I think it is a money-making aspect for airlines, but they'll be making it off the people who don't want to travel with children. Yeah. So that's where they'll make their money on it.
This is what the airline, it's a Turkish airline that's introduced this. They're going to have adult zones. At the front of planes, you'll pay €45 more to be in that zone.
Yes.
There'll be a wall and thick curtains that separate that from the back of the plane which will be family-friendly for children. And that's what they're moving forward with. It starts in November. And I think that's a great idea because I think just that way you might say, oh, everyone should be accepting of children, but a lot of people aren't. And, fewer people are having children now. It's about half what it was back in the 80s. The kind of, it's 1.4 now. I think it used to be 2.9 then. And so you want to change those attitudes, but actually, if you can't do that, is the next best thing not to just separate those people so that everyone's
I went through a few years where I decided I have 4 children and it wasn't fair for them or us, and we sort of had a few years where we didn't really bring them abroad, and we had British holidays and Irish holidays, and it was a more suited holiday for them.
Thanks very much to Dave, who's emailed in. God forbid you're unlucky enough to be on a plane with Isabel's children. Aren't you a lovely person, Dave? Let me tell you, the only time my children have been disruptive on a flight was when they were babe in arms and they were crying. There's not an awful lot you can do in that situation, but I'm sure you're a better parent than me, Dave. Thanks for your email. Really appreciate it.